Yes. Well, you know, now that we're on video here,
well, this is the
I can't believe you totally escaped the video. Well, we've got this guy completely off the camera.
I got it.
I have a face.
Guy over there.
I have a face for radio, and I would like to stay on radio. So let's go there.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bird Shooter, and tonight we're coming to you live from the cardiac basement, which is I don't know if you can, well, on YouTube, I guess you can see it, which we are actually we're doing a YouTube video right now. Wow. But on radio, you obviously can't. So, but I'm here with two friends of Bird Shooter, Cardiac to my right, who you can't see on camera by design, and
requested.
What is Gary's trail name?
Drone Boy.
Drone Boy. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. If you want to get started, we can actually go into trail names. That would maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know that I had a trail.
Well, yeah, you did. I remember now where you got it. You got it from that hike in Colorado.
Yeah. Well, should we start with Drone Boy on how he got his trail name?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to know?
Well, tell us about your hike where we dubbed you Drone Boy.
Oh yeah. So
it wasn't an accident that you.
No, there were 5 of us. It was me, you, George, Steve, and Scott, and we went to Aspen, up to Maroon Bells, and what was it, Cathedral Lake, I think?
Yep, Cathedral Lake.
Yeah, we were going to go up to the Electric Pass, but none of us made it to the Electric Pass. That girl that we met made it to Electric Pass, but that was the first year I had gotten a drone specifically for that trip.
The Phantom 4.
Yeah, so I got the Phantom 4.
And before we talk about the drone, though, it became electric in Electric Pass that day. Like, literally, that thunderstorm rolled in. It was a good thing we weren't up there.
Yeah. No, we saw it from down below.
Yeah, right.
I think we got some pictures and stuff, but
and we got soaked on the hike out.
Well, and still to this day, that's one of the greatest drone videos that I have, even though I was still a novice. And you having a drone now, you know, you just feel uncomfortable flying it and stuff. But what was great was it was nice, relaxed, and we just went up there. I flew the drone, I think, 2 or 3 times over that time. Got it about a half mile away, maybe a mile away. Wasn't very far. You know, it didn't look very far in that place, but if I went a mile in Atlanta away, it would be far. So that was the Phantom 4 that I got. And then that trip, yeah.
You had some phenomenal footage. Phenomenal. It actually made the video. We had a lot of good photography from that trip, both still and short videos, but the drone footage made the video.
Well, and that's one thing that you learn on a lot of these trips is if you just introduce yourself to a drone, and now, you know, that was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think it was 2015, so maybe it was just 2 years ago. But if you look at your pictures and you look at some video that you do, the drone just takes it to a new level. And, you know, on this Machu Picchu trip that we're going to talk about, I couldn't take my drone. And
you tried
to, and yes, and I can talk about that too, but essentially, when I'm going over all the video and the photos and stuff like that, you realize that the drones just take it to another level when you're looking at where you are in the wilderness or out on the trail. You can't get an angle like that.
Do you have anything to say to the backcountry listeners that may oppose drones in the wilderness?
If you want to use my reference code for DJI credit so that I can get a little thing, I'll try and do that. Honestly, I know when we were out in Aspen, we had that lady.
Said you were number 1.
Well, yeah, she kind of was not happy that I had a drone and that I was flying. And what you find is there's two peoples in it, and it's right down the middle. There are the people who want the solitude and don't want drones. And then there's the people who will come up to you and ask you about, what's that? Can I see? Can you see this? And they're excited about it. And then when you see the actual pictures and stuff, they love drones. But there are those people, and I'm sure there's the backcountry, folks who F you, and,
$5,000 fine in a national park to fly a drone.
Yes.
And so there are definitely parts of the wilderness where they are.
Yeah, if you're going to fly a drone out there, you got to know the rules. And the rules are, if there's emergency vehicles around or emergency rescue operations, you don't fly. You just don't, because they have to ground all the planes and stuff. And if they're searching for somebody, that's the last thing you want to be responsible for, is that kind of thing.
You said it, Gary. It's a catch-22. It's beautiful. I mean, the video, the stuff we saw from Cathedral Lake are views that we would never get on a hike. But I also understand, when you get away, you want to get away from the city and the life, and having something buzz a little bit, even if it's a little bit, can be distracting. But it's nice to go home and watch those videos and see that footage. But I can see it. I think you're right. It's right down the middle. It's either you're for or against. Nobody's like, nah, I don't care. Either you love the piece or you want the memories.
And so we, just to give kind of maybe a numbers view, we met the one woman who hated it. We met 4 or 5 people who are still my friends who asked me to send them that footage.
And take footage of them.
Yes.
Facebook friends.
Yes.
Making Facebook friends in the wilderness with a drone.
It's all about social.
Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, when you did the AT years ago, who would have thought that there would be a Facebook and that you could make friends?
Yeah, that was definitely a game changer. So let's transition to you, Mr. Off Camera here. We'll call you Cardiac.
But I'm called Cardiac, Steve, because you were there the day that you introduced me to hiking. I mean, I had hiked before, I'd hiked some mountain or local trails, but never really understood or appreciated the outdoors until we went to Deer Valley in Utah. Mind you, it was literally right off the plane where I went and bought clothes and hiking boots.
Credit to you. You didn't flash I
didn't have anything to wear. We literally stopped at an outlet. I bought stuff, changed in the parking lot, and we were hiking Deer Valley. And by the time we got to the trailhead, I think we were looking for defibrillators, and thus my name, Cardiac. Unfortunately, getting the 11,000 plus feet and coming, right off a plane from Dallas, I think pretty much introduced to me as being way out of shape, but also seeing how enjoyable it was for you and Tony, who were with us, gave me the passion to where from then on, I would try to get a hike in all my trips, whether business or personal, from the Multnomah Falls in Oregon to hiking trails in Austin. And so that's kind of what led Gary and I to doing Machu Picchu. As we talked about earlier, the trip from 2 years ago, we've gone to Colorado, we've done 14ers, and we've done all this stuff. And so this was our first foray outside of the U.S., and Machu Picchu was on the bucket list.
You've come a long way since when you got dubbed your trail name Cardiac. Well done.
I'm still here, so that's a good point.
We're going to talk about fitness in terms of Machu Picchu, too. So maybe just to start, to get into the Machu Picchu part of the trail or the podcast here, how about some true and false questions and see how knowledgeable you guys are post-trip? You guys did your trip in the summer, right?
We did it at the end of
July 31st to August 1st. Yeah. Or July 28th. It was my wife's birthday that we took off.
Okay.
And we got back on August 1st.
August 2nd we got back.
This is when we got back to the U.S.
Oh, right.
August 2nd, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which in Peru is there...
July 28th, ironically, is the day of independence for Peru.
Yes.
And we learned that, which was interesting. It was there July 4th. It's July 28th. So Peru Independence Day was the day of our beginning hike. And the first day of our hike, we went to this small village where we set up our camping outside, and we walked up and we got to see them celebrating. And there was fireworks and stuff, and it was very interesting. It was a cool time to go.
Well, help me with my geography, though. They're south of the equator, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So their seasons are opposite ours?
Yes. Except Peru is very temperate in the fact that it's mountainous. So a lot of the temperatures that we were feeling, like at 14,000 feet, I think it got down to 28 degrees that night, they said.
Yeah, I mean, the first night was the best. It was the most comfortable I was. The second night, we froze to death.
Horrible.
I could not have dressed warmer. And we were in, what were those sleeping bags called? I mean, basically, we were...
Yeah, mummy bags.
Yeah, they were mummy bags to keep warm. The third night, it was like a Vietcong sweatbox for those vets out there. It was so hot. And all we had were mummy bags. So, I mean, you're just sitting in your tent, basically laying on top of the mummy bag, hot and very uncomfortable, knowing that we had to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning that day. So there wasn't much rest. But we'll get to that later on. But yeah, we can start with the true and false.
Well, we'll do that. Like just some quick background for the listeners. So Machu Picchu is in Peru. It's near the town of Cusco. Is that right?
Yeah, she started out at Cusco.
Which, how far is Cusco from Peru?
A couple hours. I mean, Cusco's in Peru.
Yeah.
But Cusco from Machu Picchu, it's a couple hours. It was at least two.
It was like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive on a bus to the start of the trail, and then once you're done with the trail, and it
was a 4-hour tour back between train and bus.
Well, yeah, you end Machu Picchu is actually in a town called Aguas Calientes, which is right down at the base.
Hot water.
I think so. I don't know.
I'm working on my Spanish
or something.
It's something like that, but it's a town that after learning about it and things of that sort, it's a town that has exploded, but only in terms of population. They have zero infrastructure whatsoever at the town. So
And is that because of tourism that it's expired?
tourism in Peru is what the lifeblood of Peru is. So you end at this place, and then you've got to take a train or a bus back to Cusco. And so what Scott said was the 4-hour ride.
It was 2 hours on a train and 2 hours on
Yeah.
like a van that we had to drive back. And this was the last day. No shower for
It
4
was
days.
tough.
Exhausted.
It was
The
tough.
train was awesome. We had a nice glass train. They served us.
There's a fashion show on the train.
Yeah, fashion show. We got good views. But you haven't slept. And the last night of the trip, and as I'm jumping ahead, you only get a couple hours.
Yeah.
Because you want to get to the gate to see those sunrise.
Oh, okay. They get you there at sunrise.
Yeah.
Save all that because we're going to talk specifically about the trail.
Okay.
Before we do true or false, just a couple things quickly for the listeners. So Machu Picchu is apparently built somewhere between 1450 and 1460. This is what my research tells me.
Honestly,
Unless you want to challenge that.
well, they don't know. And this is what you learn when you do research on Machu Picchu is everything about Machu Picchu is a guess. It's an educated guess by people who are just guessing about things.
Okay.
Because what happened was when the Spanish came in, they destroyed everything. And the Incas didn't have a written language, so there was nothing recorded.
Right.
So Hiram Bickham, which is the guy that discovered it a few hundred years ago, he basically unearthed it.
Yeah, it was in the early 1900s.
Yeah, somewhere around
It
there.
wasn't a few hundred. It was only a little over 100 years ago.
And
1911.
he found it, and there weren't people living there. There's nobody. The whole thing was wiped out. So the Incas have had very little documented about what this was.
The story is when the Spaniards came, they tried to take horses up the Inca Trail, and the horses died, obviously, but the mosquitoes got horses in what was it, smallpox, basically called smallpox. And
Wait, you guys got to stop because these are all my true false questions.
Sorry.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah,
We're
let's
going to go straight into true and
yeah.
false. You're killing me here.
Yeah.
Jumping the gun.
You're the one who jumped the gun. We were ready for true and false 10 minutes ago.
All right, here we go. True or false? Machu Picchu is known as the lost city of the Incas.
Oh, true.
True.
False!
What?
Yes, it's actually Vilcabamba is the true lost city of the Incas.
Did we see that? I don't even
That's
know.
fine.
Are you sure you guys have even been to Machu Picchu?
I would like to audit your questions.
Are you
We
ready?
have
For,
pictures of proof.
are you ready for another?
Yeah, fire away.
I gotta tell you, I've been playing HQ Live on the iPhone. That's a tough
I
trivia
got
question.
8 in a row last night.
Eight's good.
I heard 5 is your highest.
5 is my highest, yeah. So your true false questions, we're probably not going to do that good based on the beginning of this.
Well, you're 0 for 1.
All right.
Machu Picchu was inhabited for around 80 years, but was abandoned when most of its inhabitants died from smallpox induced by travelers that came in contact with Spanish conquistadors and other parts of the empire.
I'm going to say true, but really the horses being killed and that stuff. So I think it's true.
I would say it's true, but it's a guess. So I would then say false. So I might be
Wow! My
I
man
might be
nailed
right.
that one. It's false because it's plausible, but it's not been proven.
right.
I think everything is that way. Is the world flat? Prove that, because I know there's some arguments out there. People are saying it's flat. Isn't that now like the new trending thing? So there's some arguments that way too. But all right.
Wow. So Gary's 1 for 1. I'm going to give you
1
0 for 2.
Holy crap.
1 for 2.
All right, the next question. True or
The
false?
guy went true and false on that. You're giving him credit. I'm going to say true and false, Steve, in your next question. I would like to get back in the game.
The Spanish plundered Machu Picchu for gold.
Oh,
True or false?
True.
I don't think so. I think it was for land. I'm going to go false. I don't think it was gold.
Cardiac's correct. False.
What?
The Spanish never actually found Machu Picchu. They never actually
You're right.
found
Okay.
Right.
You're right. You're right.
Wow. So now we got
Now
a
that you're
tie
reminded,
right now, right?
That
You guys are both 1 and 2. Is that
Hiram
right?
Bickham found it.
I don't know. 3-0.
I think that's his name.
Yeah, it was Hiram Bingham.
Yeah.
The next question. Evidence suggests that the Germans were the first people outside of South America to explore Machu Picchu.
I believe that's false.
Yeah,
The
false.
Germans drink too much beer to have made it there. I'm going to say false.
And incorrect again.
Okay,
You guys,
what-
are you
what
sure
German-
you've actually been
what
there?
Ger- I can tell you this, they don't have pretzels. There's no way the Germans were there. What German showed up there is what I want to know.
It's all
That's
right.
unbelievable.
They actually think that 2 different Germans were there before your boy Hiram that went there.
Well, if you just said Spaniards or English or French, but Germans? I mean, seriously, I don't know.
The Germans are everywhere. They're like the world travelers.
Okay, Adolf, I don't think that's necessarily the case. What I'm trying to focus on, is your question, and I'm definitely asking for an
I
honor.
gotta tell you, these are pretty hard.
It's hard. You guys are 1 for 4. I just want to tell you that right now.
Fire, is there any more?
I'm starting to doubt that you actually went to Machu Picchu.
Peru is 4 letters.
I know.
True or false when you spell it.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
I just want to give you that Hiram Bingham, who you had referenced earlier,
Yes.
was the person that actually gets credit for really.
1911.
I don't know if you want to give him credit for this, but he's the one that brought international attention to Machu Picchu.
Yes.
Right. He was the
We took a
guy
picture.
that
There
was
was
led
2
there by
families that lived there.
Yes.
He found 2 families in Machu Picchu when we were there.
Apparently, a local farmer led him to the site. He was looking for the old Inca capital,
Yes.
and he actually gets credit for the.
And he's an American.
Again, I don't
He's
know.
American, right?
I don't know if you want to give him credit for it because now it's overrun with tourists. But he's the guy that gets credit for making it an international site.
Right.
Right, but they obviously don't allow drones or any of that stuff. There isn't, and I don't think there's any airplanes or helicopters. There's nothing that goes over it, which was fascinating because the way they built Machu Picchu is it's all based on astrology, a lot of it. And so they don't allow any airplanes. Like when we were there, I kept looking up, there was no airplane. You would think just an airplane over the distance would go, but that's why they never found it. You think about all these years and you think about the technology. It took even in the early 1900s to discover Machu Picchu. They didn't have. You would think we'd be able to fly planes over it, or they would have unbelievable video of it.
Well, and supposedly the trails got all overgrown that went there, and
Well, they're still finding.
There's only 30% of the trails visible now.
Right.
So think about it. 70% is just needs
Think
to
about
still
it.
be uncovered.
well, you've teed me up perfectly for my next question,
Oh God.
and that is in the late 1900s, the Peruvian government granted concessions to allow construction of a cable car and luxury hotel, including a tourist complex with boutiques and restaurants and a bridge to the site. True or false?
False.
That's true because think about it. They definitely have this stuff there.
Oh, cardiac gets
Wait.
that one right.
To Machu Picchu,
They actually approved it. They did approve it,
but they haven't built it.
Well, there was a huge backlash.
Well, remember, they have the luxury hotel down where we went down when we took the bus down to Machu Picchu City.
Is there a luxury
I'm sorry,
hotel
not
down
Machu
there?
Picchu City. No,
I was
in
thinking-
Machu Picchu, there's a luxury hotel. Jacqueline was going to get us. It was $1,200 a
Oh,
night.
that's right.
Right there, they had the hotel right outside Machu Picchu. And remember when we picked up the bus? I was like,
There's a hotel there.
That's a
Oh,
hotel.
that's right,
Yeah,
dude. That was luxury.
yeah, it's $1,200 a night.
Oh my
Because
God.
Jacqueline was like, if I stay there, I'll go. Like they could bus up. To your point, Steve, and I believe you'll ask this question later on. It is pretty incredible as you're in the jungles of Peru doing this hike for 4 days, and when you come out, people are starting to walk towards you.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, they're walking up.
We're definitely going to talk about that. Save that because that's on my
And
list.
by the way,
Oh,
they're walking up to what's called, I think, the gates. What was it?
Sungate.
Sungate. So the bus goes right to Machu Picchu.
Let's just go ahead and get it out now because we're talking about it. But that was one of my lists. I mean, that had to be completely deflating because you guys spent 4 days
That
on the
was
trail, right?
okay. So here's my experience, and then we walked to the Sungate. I had researched this thing. That was the place that I wanted to go see the sunrise. It was great. They only allow 500 people per day on the Inca Trail, so there were 500 people up there, kind of doing time lapses and pictures, and we were all dirty.
And not all
from the trail.
at the same time. Some started at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. So as you're hiking, everybody's hiking at different times. So yeah, I would say there's probably 100 people up there when we were there.
Yeah, watching the sunrise and stuff.
Yeah.
Then the buses roll in.
Well, no.
No,
the
that's
second
nowhere
we
close.
leave,
It's about a mile and a half hike.
Yeah.
So the closest you can get is a mile away. So there's no way.
No,
you're
the
gonna-
bus-
The buses go to Machu Picchu. The Sungate is up on this mountain overlooking Machu Picchu.
I got
You're
you.
up
the visual is
I
awesome.
see. That's where everybody gets their picture.
That's where you
The
get the
Sungate.
picture
Yeah,
of you.
And that's the one where you got your arms spread.
Well, no,
That's down. That's down in Machu
Yeah,
Picchu.
we were in Machu.
There's pictures of us above where you look down. You're like, oh, that's little Machu Picchu because you're above it on this mountain. And
Okay.
it's a mile and a half hike, which was fascinating because number one, it was hot that day, as Gary and I will talk later when we talk about the tour that we had to take of Machu Picchu. But people are walking up and they don't even have any camelbacks, no water. They just took a bus up and figured out walk a mile and a half up. But it's pretty steep, mile and a half up and back. So that's 3 miles round trip, and they didn't even have water.
So what you see as you're walking down from the Sungate to Machu Picchu in the mile and a half is the reason that Disney outlawed selfie sticks. Because it's basically everybody in their outlet gear wear that they bought at the local outlet mall with their phone on a selfie stick with a Bluetooth remote taking selfies of Machu Picchu. And here we are walking down filthy.
All right.
And we haven't had a shower. We haven't had a bath.
We're in the same boat, except for Gary.
Yeah.
Gary's the only one out of everyone that changed every day. The rest of us are wearing exactly what we started in.
I did have an apricot.
I had Merlot or Merino stuff all over.
Yeah, it was definitely deflating to walk in there and then just be crowded by these people with selfie sticks. Now, I had selfie sticks too, but I kind of felt like, okay, I'm getting gypped of my experience because I just did 4 days of grueling hiking, and it was worth it.
And these people are taking a bus there.
They're taking a bus.
And I'll tell you, I did not research any of that. So the only thing I researched on was was I going to survive the hike, right? What does that take? What's training like? What's eating like? All of the training that went into like the hike I was excited about because what we saw that those people who took the train to Machu Picchu didn't see were other Inca sites.
Yeah, the real Peru.
Yeah, you're in the jungles, you're seeing the forts, you're going to other places. Now Machu Picchu is the creme de la creme. It's the Taj Mahal, but you get to see other Inca sites along the way, and the memories you have with the people you're with. It just there's just something special about that. And to Gary, it does cheapen a little bit when you get there, and it's like you just walked into a Walmart at the end with all these people walking around.
Yeah, well, I had that experience. Have you guys ever been to Mount Washington in New Hampshire?
No.
Same thing. Like, it's taken me days to get to Mount Washington. You finally come to the top of the peak, and there's these people coming up in a car. Right?
Well, that's like Pikes Peak, right? Like Pikes Peak,
right.
People can drive up, and Pikes Peak's something that Gary and I tried to hike this year, but unfortunately due to weather we couldn't do it. But yeah, you kind of are like, wow, these guys are all laying on their car, and we just busted our butt going up the hill.
Well, yeah. So we're going to talk a lot more about the trail in a second. Let me give you the final true/false question. Okay, probably the most interesting. True/false?
Both.
That could be true. Nude tourism is a recent trend. To the dismay of Peruvian officials, by the way. In several incidents, tourists were detained for posing for nude pictures or streaking across the site.
Nude stuff. I thought you were saying nude. Nude. I wouldn't know, but
Scott went nude.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a special experience, but it sounds like other people have had that experience. So I'm going to assume it's true because it's so wild out there. I don't know. I'm going to say it's true. But the one thing that was happening when Gary and I were there was they were protesting, and they were protesting an airport being built near Machu Picchu. And they weren't protesting necessarily for the airport. They were protesting, I think, for the money and the jobs and stuff that it would bring.
So they were actually in favor of it.
No, well, they sort of wanted to unionize, and they wanted to be against it unless they got jobs and they got something out of it, because I think it was going to be a private airport and stuff. So, but there was huge protests, and that was in Cusco that we saw that.
I did read that they banned helicopters, so you guys didn't see helicopters.
No, I didn't even see airplanes.
Gotcha.
And obviously no drones.
Yeah.
Gary flew his drone in Cusco, and it was nerve-wracking, I think, because
I shouldn't have been as nervous as I was finding out later and stuff, but Cusco and Lima, I flew the drone.
well, and that you brought it through, and we had to go through Bogota, Colombia, on the way there.
Yeah.
So you have this drone on you, and now you're going through all these countries. So it was
It may or may not be involved in drug
Gary's
trade.
reading all the fines and all the stuff, and then he's going to leave for the airport early to fight.
I can talk
expedition.
about that later, but no,
You guys look good on